So, say the drawing is our starting point. Key that. Oh, okay, that's right. And we'll go there and and what I really wanted to do here is really push, to some degree, the projection system. So we want to be able to move around, reveal another face of the building and just kind of push it to some degree. But, we don't also want to do a crazy, ridiculous camera move that you would never see in a movie anyway, unless it's, unless it's like the start of Sherlock Holmes, I guess, where, that's, the intro to films are usually, they can be, I guess, quite extreme. But, that's more of it, I guess, more of a normal kind of camera move. But you can see, we're moving around this kind of pub here. So we'll see, so we'll have to have, our base projections here, and then more, say we're going to take each building separately, but, you'll have your base projections, then, a whole new set for here, because you're completely revealing something different. But beyond that, you're seeing over the top of it. So, we may see more buildings here, down here, depending on what we see over. I kind of like that we're moving in front of this building on the right. It'll give us a nice kind of sweeping foreground. But, as I said, it's just a rough, I'll do a lot more work. Oh, whoops, 24 frames is a bit quick. But, we really want a nice kind of, a little bit of the jib arm wobble and, just a much more realistic camera move, because that's really the trick. I mean, any 3D, obviously, the more realistic the camera move, the more chances the whole shot's going to look realistic. So that will come to later, because what is basically important is deciding on what else we need to add. So, I can't imagine, unless we change the camera move dramatically, that we're going to need to see anything more than what we're doing here. Because even if we decided to move, a little down this alley or something, you'd still need to be able to see what's down here. So, I think that, this is probably, it'll give us enough that if we add stuff in here, so some buildings here, something here, and maybe over the top, depending, I think, we'll start modelling this stuff up, and we'll have a good idea of what's needed. But it'll give us a lot of options, and that's what we want. So, we don't need to lock down the camera move yet, as much as you probably would normally in a production. So, normally in the brief, if that was the move, it's like, well, that's, apart from, fine tuning, at least you kind of know where you're at. But I'd like the freedom to be able to kind of play with it a little bit more. But, we will be, I guess what I'm trying to get to is say, okay, this is what we need now on top of already what we need to model. And the way I really want to approach this is kind of a modular system. So, knowing that we're doing this kind of period piece, I have a couple of terraces here. I could probably repeat one or two of them down there, or further back in the background. The terraces are, they do get repeated a lot. You see whole streets they're exactly the same. They're just different colours, but structurally they're generally the same. but yeah, a lot of the detail I'm talking about doing, like the window sills and the architraves and all that kind of detail will do. I'll be doing as a modular system that we can then just kind of dupe and pass around to other buildings, and because it really, we want to be able to do this really quickly. So, as far as we know that we need to do A, B, C, D, E buildings here, we may need F, G, H, I, J or something like that. And they can be kind of duped off stuff, and plus we've got the town hall that would be here. But yeah, I mean, so that's I guess roughly the idea. So now I would save this and really just jump into probably export these possibly with this camera, just so I've got the reference of the backdrop and the whole kind of setup, and then we can just start modelling up these buildings, because as I said, it's all about let's just do this quickly. Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll just export this to Modo. Now, FX is pretty good these days. Generally, all we really need to do is get rid of anything Modo can't understand. So just for safety's sake, I think get rid of things like 3D textures or locators, and just delete all history. And that should give us, and this camera move should go in fine. Everything should work. So if we just export all as an FBX. Don't need to change any of this. It should be fine. Probably ignore it doesn't matter. That was my mistake when I was keying it. So just open Modo, see how it goes. Alright. There you go. And rough move. And see, so that all translates great. So now I can kind of model up my scene in Modo and then send it back out, and it'll all be, it'll all sit in the same place and should work back and forward quite well. Okay, as you can see, the background or the image plane didn't come in, but that's fine. We just need to kind of reassign it. So in Modo, you go new item, backdrop item, load an image, load the projection, and projection type goes to camera, and then that should basically match. So I mean, you can see that the whole back and forward works quite well. It didn't always used to. I've worked on in previous versions. It was quite painful to be doing this, but anyway, So you can see what we've got here, and I'll probably just start modelling one of these terraces up. So turn everything off. Maybe start with that. Now at the moment, I'll just leave, I guess, the camera where it is. But if, I can change it as I'm going along. But again, I'll just do kind of some edge loops. Another one there. I mean, this is kind of where the that interactive modeler in the map paint toolkit was actually very handy, because you could see while you're in your perspective, you'd have the image mapped to it and you could use it as a template. So, if you've got the hardware power, the GPU power, I guess, with a nice Quadro card or something, it could really come in handy. But as I said, on my poor little laptop, it just didn't really work very well. So, yeah, it's just a case of kind of just starting to model it up. I need another edge loop in there. Well, now it scales right out, but that's all right. I can adjust that afterwards. It's not a big deal. $10, $20. Anyway, so I'll just keep going and modelling this. There's nothing really worth showing here. It's this is the same as what I was doing before. But what I'll do is do a bit of time lapse, I guess, and just show you guys any progression in the forums and in the next lesson. But what I'll do is just kind of basically create the shells for each of these buildings that are in the mat, and then create, I guess, some kind of modular system, as I've discussed, in terms of just like props, really, and just making props of sills and windows and etc. Railings and these lampposts, whatever we need, and and then that can be just placed separately as separate object. We don't need to worry about doing nice super clean models with everything attached. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson.